Good afternoon, dear Samarkand Tourism Forum audience. Good afternoon or good morning, Gregory. Merry Christmas to all. We start our last but not least conversation talk podcast in 2023, and I'm very proud, happy, and excited to present my friend, colleague, and exciting guide on gastronomy, wine, and agri-tourism, Gregory Schaffer. Gregory is originated from United States, but for a decade he's living in Spain, in northern Spain, in Basque country, in San Sebastian. We met in the beginning of 2020 in Arrival conference in Berlin. We met again last year. All this time we were watching for each other's movement, and I'm always excited to see Gregory's posts in Instagram, mainly in LinkedIn, in Facebook, because his posts are so tasty, so joyful, and for me, he's an example of guide. First of all, Gregory, you are a guide for myself, but you're also eventer. You are also owning a company. You're also winemaker, chief. But first of all, you are a guide, and all in Samarkand Tourism Forum, all of us were aware that guides are the key figure in tourism. So we are emphasizing guides. We are like admiring guides. We are pushing guides. And what we are pushing them is to create more experiences for their guests. So Gregory is a master of experiences, and Gregory, I'm going to push the floor to you. Tell us more if I missed something important from your career, and we will start this exciting talk.
Okay. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much, Michael. It's great to be here. It's an honor to be here. I'm thrilled to be participating on the podcast, and the last one of the year, even better. So hopefully ending on a good note, on a high note. And thank you so much for that lovely introduction, and for all the nice things that you said about tour guides, because sometimes I feel like people don't appreciate the job. They don't respect what it is that we do. People think it's a joke, maybe, or we're just a bunch of clowns. But I take the job very seriously. I love my job. I love working in tourism. I love being a tour guide. And it's nice to get some love. So again, great to be here. I know today we're going to talk about sustainability. And hopefully we'll talk a little bit more about Samarkand and the Tourism Forum, which I'm very excited about, coming up in February. And yeah, what more can I say? We're finishing up 2023 here in the Basque Country in northern Spain. I'm based in San Sebastian, and I run a small company called Basque Bites, and we mostly do culinary tourism. And I'll tell you more about that later on, but I'm excited to jump in with your questions and this conversation on sustainability. So.
But before this complicated point of sustainability, please just tell us how this year was going on and what kind of tourists you had, and tell us like landscape of your job first, yes, and what is happening in San Sebastian.
Okay,
now, so not right now, but let's say 2023.
In general, yeah, it was a very big year here. I think it was, I know it was a record-breaking year with terms of volume, visitors, hotel bookings. So better than pre-COVID times, better than 2019. So
really,
yeah, it was a huge year. It was
better in numbers, in figures, in money.
Across the board, yeah. So it was a very unusual year. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. It was a little different, though. Things since COVID have been hard to understand or predict. A good example of that was that in the middle of summer, the month of July, which is usually one of the busiest times of year. This year, it was a little bit slower. It had a dip, and that was very unusual. But across the board, when you look at all the months together, 2023 was a record-breaking year, and they are projecting that 2024 will continue to be very, very strong. The tourists here, for me, most of my clients come from the United States. This year was a little bit unusual in that we had more Spanish nationals, people from other parts of Spain visiting the region, as well as a lot of other Europeans.
It's
so
interesting.
It is. It's different.
Yeah. So the domestication of tourism, yes, even in Spain.
Yes, I suppose so.
Yes, I remember a lot. There were a lot of conversation during the lockdown of pandemic that Spain and Portugal, not see on the like big size of countries of economy, they are still very much depending on inbound flow. We are in Central Asia are the same, but I am happy to see that domestic tourism growth, by the way, in both ends, in Iberia and in Central Asia.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a different trend. My clients, as I mentioned, are mostly from the United States, almost 100% English speakers. Following the US, folks from Great Britain, from England, or Canada and Australia. Sometimes I have some Nordic clients, Norway, Germany. But there's a joke amongst the tour guides is, oh, we're happy to see more Spanish visitors, but it doesn't help our business because they aren't going to take a tour with me. They're going to, I think
because of language?
I think it's of language, and perhaps they assume they already know the information. They don't need a tour guide. And also an economic factor in that the tourism, well, tour guides can be rather expensive, especially here in San Sebastian. My tours, for example, are priced very high because I made a concerted effort to attract the wealthy clientele who visits the area. And we do still have a lot of very wealthy visitors, high-end hotels, five-star hotels, boutique hotels, and also lots of restaurants with Michelin stars, which is a huge draw for San Sebastian. And just going back to my expertise, culinary tourism, this city was built for it because it has so many wonderful fine dining restaurants, but also so many casual bars, which we could talk about later. So it's very accessible to eat extremely well here. And it is a big draw for tourism. That plus the beaches, the nature, the hiking, and the very unusual culture that we enjoy here. So.
Tell the truth, Gregory, before meeting you and starting to following you, I didn't know about the existence of San Sebastian.
Yeah.
However, I was not only in Spain several times, but once I was in Bilbao in Basque Country. Yeah, but I have never heard about it. So is San Sebastian is still like niche product, or it is my like fault that I didn't know about so big destination, or it is small destination for people who are coming with some certain reasons like gastronomy, maybe, yes, or something special?
I would say it is still a niche market. The town is quite small. It has about 190,000 people, and it's not very easy to access. So you were close in Bilbao. You're just about 1 hour away to the west, but you would have to come by autobus or take a private car. And for the longest time, people were not traveling here. It has become very popular in the last 7 or 8 years, I would say.
It's young, emerging destination.
yeah, I suppose so. But it has an interesting history, though. Going back to the 19th century, it became a vacation resort for the royal family of Spain. So tourism has been here for a long time, but things go up and down. A lot of that has to do with politics. But the city was originally, it became a tourist destination when the royal family of Spain began to summer here in the 1860s. And then by the 1880s, they actually built a palace on the beach. And so behind the royal family came all of the other dukes and duchesses, the aristocratic families, anyone with money, not just from Spain, but from all over Europe. They were flooding to San Sebastian to enjoy the beaches and to be near the wealthy royal families. I should point out one thing, 'cause we are in Spain, but the northern coast of Spain is not your typical Spain. It's not hot and sunny all year long. It's more of an Atlantic climate. So we have a lot of rain. The weather can be quite chilly. And we don't have things like paella and fresh tomatoes. We don't have oranges. There's no flamenco here. So it's culturally, geographically, climatologically very, very different. And that is one of the things that attracted the royal family. They were coming here to cool off in the summer. And that's also why this past summer we saw such a large influx of Spanish tourists. Again, it was so hot in the south of Spain. People came to the north to cool off and relax in the hottest months, July, August.
I see. My last question about the destination itself is, so at that time it was because of climate, yes? The royal luxury tourism flow, let's call it like this,
sure.
Yes, was based on the climate. Now I think it's different because your customers from United States are coming not for climate issue, yeah? Because it's colder climate, yeah, than in the south. They come for cultural things, for gastronomy, right? Or
yes.
what? Or what is the reason for them to come?
The number one reason is definitely gastronomy. It's very famous. There's the Michelin star restaurants, the unusual taverns that we have here. We're very famous for small plates of food. It's not really a tapas, but it's called a pincho. It's the Basque version of tapas. So very, very affordable, but delicious food that you can eat in the bars very easily. The city has had a lot of good publicity. So a lot of famous chefs have come here. Television programs were grabbed here. And that has made it become very popular in popular culture. And again, that unusual culture that we enjoy here, the Basque culture. There's a different language, different from Spanish, an unusual history that goes back over 20,000 years. And we are right on the French border. The city of San Sebastian is more or less in the middle, halfway between Bayonne, France, and Bilbao in Spain. But all of this is considered the Basque country. So I always say the Basque country is like a triangle on the coast, on the Bay of Biscay, the Cantabrian Sea, from Bayonne, France to Bilbao, Spain, and then going inland towards the Pyrenees, towards the mountains with Pamplona. And Pamplona is very famous. That's where they have the running of the bulls in the summer. Hemingway used to spend time there. And so a lot of coast, a lot of mountains, a lot of beautiful green area, and all throughout the Basque country, wonderful wine, wonderful food, unusual people with an incredible culture and history. And it's very, very, very different. So it has and it's all very accessible. Within 1 hour's drive, you can get to any part of the Basque country and really enjoy something unique and different, whether you're on the French side or the Spanish side or deep in the mountains. It's great.
Okay. So that means that besides of the sea, because we don't have sea in Central Asia, yes, and besides the location, like in the middle of Southern Europe, let's say like this, yeah, there are many similarities, and why I emphasize on it, because our goal is to transfer of technologies, transfer of skills, yes, from more developed destinations to us, and Samarkand Tourism Forum is about it. Yes, it's about exchange of skills, knowledges, and practices. First of all, practice, because we all are practitioners.
Sure.
So let's come to sustainability point, but I wanna again and again mention we are not a forum of sustainability. We just try to understand, to learn, and to start to implement at least what is implementable and not push what is not implementable so far. Yeah, we are very careful with this, but we believe that sustainability is not only important and necessary element of tourism as an industry, as activity, but we believe that sustainability can help to countries of Central Asia to make maybe not a leapfrog, yeah, but to develop in tourism more and more quickly and faster and more efficiently, because this is new trend for all, and those destinations which will catch it, yes, grab it and try to learn quickly and move and implement, they will gain. So therefore, Gregory, let's touch sustainability very correctly and like slightly, yes, but according to what you are doing, I'm learning. I told that I'm learning for several years. I see that as a guide, you can't take part in many elements of sustainability, like waste management or, I don't know, alternative energy. But as a guide, you are touching very closely the cultural
Yes.
element, yeah, and saving culture, yes, and how to say, recovering forgotten cultural things, yes. All this is a part of sustainability, same like economy of water or water management, like waste management, like energy issues. Yeah, it is the same. Sustainability consists of many different components, yes, and or let's say criteria, yes, 12 or 14 criteria. So we will be precisely now focusing on cultural heritage, yes, and how do you deal with this? Even the fact that you are a foreigner, yes, you were not born in that country, it's even empowers our interest, because you came to this country to work as a guide, yes. And how do you do it? How do you deal with local culture? Do you just consume it, or you bring something to it? Yes, because this is local culture is your resource. You earn money on it. So please collect all these elements of my maybe complicated question, yes, and long, yes. And tell us story. You're a storyteller.
All right, I'll tell a story. This might take a while. Now, we should probably break this up into some categories. I'll give you my story. I was a chef. I was a professional chef. I was working in the United States for many years. I am an American. I was born in Florida. I lived in California. And I worked as a chef for about 15 years. And eventually I was in France. I was studying at Le Cordon Bleu Paris. I was working in a brasserie in Paris. And I took a year of sabbatical to study, to learn, to travel. And I found an unusual program called WWOOF, WWOOF.org, O-R-G, Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. And it's a work exchange program. So small organic family farms who need help will give you free room and free food in exchange for about 4 hours of work a day. And I thought, well, this sounds like a great idea. And I did this for 1 year. I went all over rural France and rural Spain working on different farms. And I did it very strategically because as a chef, I wanted to learn new things, new recipes. And specifically, I wanted to learn how to make goat cheese, how to make olive oil, and how to make bread. And so I immediately went to a goat farm in France. I learned how to make cheese. I did many other things. We baked bread there as well. Then I went to Grasse, which is near Cannes in the south of France. And I lived on an olive farm. And I did the entire cosecha, the collection, the harvest of the olives. And we made olive oil, wonderful organic olive oil. Later, I was near Lyon. I lived and worked in a boulangerie. And all throughout Spain, I worked on many different farms in Valencia, in the Canary Islands. And everywhere I went, people kept telling me, you must go to the Basque Country. And I had heard of it. It was in the back of my head, but I didn't know anything about it, just that there were some famous restaurants there and a lot of sheep. Lots of sheep. So I decided, after several people told me this, that I should come to the Basque Country. So I found a farm on the woofing program, and they were near Vitoria-Gasteiz, which is about an hour and a half from San Sebastian. It's close to the Rioja, the winemaking region. And Vitoria-Gasteiz is the political capital of the Basque Country. So it's a very unusual place. I wasn't living in the city, though. I was living on the outskirts of the city, in the country, on a farm. And I got along very well with everybody there. And indeed, it was true. Everyone said, your philosophy about food and about life is very much in line with the way that the Basques are living. And I was supposed to go to that farm for just 2 weeks. I stayed for 5 months, and then I moved to San Sebastian when the winter came and it became rainy and cold. I said, oh, I have to leave the forest. I have to leave the farm. So I moved to the city here on the beach. And that was 11 and a half years ago. I've been living in San Sebastian for over 11 years now, and I absolutely love it. So it's a long story. I'm sorry. And they're just touching on a couple.
No. It's very interesting story, but I have one question in this part of your story. Sure. What you say, we call it agritourism, right? So,
sure.
But you were volunteering. It's very American way of penetration to new words. Yes. So it's understandable. It's a regular, maybe not regular, but quite American case. Yes. But tell me, because I'm thinking a lot about agritourism development in our part of the world, and among others, language barrier is a very big issue. Yeah. But I think you have also faced it. Or did you speak Spanish when you arrived to Europe?
Yeah, more or less. My Spanish was pretty good. Growing up in Florida, there was so many people from the Caribbean or Central America and I had spent time as a student learning Spanish. That was my second language. And I had lived abroad before. I'd spent time in Costa Rica and Colombia. And so my Spanish was okay. My French was so-so, but I was in France to study, so I picked it up quickly.
Okay.
I'm always under the philosophy that language should not be a barrier. Everybody who is friendly is happy to communicate, and you can do that with your hands, with a big smile, by just being nice. You can always get by if you're patient, if you're open, and you're friendly.
My friend, it works. It works well if you visit some place for 1 hour or for 3 hours, maybe for 3 days, but not for months like you. So in your case, I think your language background is very important. Anyway, you were talking you knew some Spanish, and it helped you to quickly adopt to French and to Basque languages. Yes, but at least with some French background, you managed to do it.
Well, here's where the story gets a little interesting, and it goes right back to language, because in the Basque Country, they have a unique language. It is called Euskera, or the Basque language in English. And Euskera is the oldest surviving, as in still being spoken today. It's the oldest surviving indigenous language in Europe. And it is over 20,000 years old. And the Basques have been in this region long before there was a France and long before there was Spain. They were always here on the Bay of Biscay, on the Pyrenees Mountains. Now, I thought, is this language real? Maybe it's just an accent or a dialogue, a very naive point of view. But when I moved here, I realized, it is a very serious language. It's not a joke. People especially in rural communities, they really do speak it. They prefer to speak that than Spanish or French. And it was a huge barrier for me when I moved to San Sebastian and I was looking for work, and I wanted to get a job as a chef. I had been working as a chef for so long. I went to Le Cordon Bleu Paris. No one here cared. They would look at my curriculum and laugh at me. And they would say, you're an American, you don't know anything about food. And by the way, how are you going to communicate with us? Because in the kitchen, we only speak Basque. We only speak Euskera.
So it was my question.
Yes, well. Yes. And it was a big shock for me. And I didn't know what to do. And eventually, I got a job working at a travel agency, another tour operator, an inbound travel agent. And I was doing their marketing, their publicity. I was basically writing all of their copy in English. Because I have a background in media relations, public relations, journalism. So I'm okay. I can write. And that was my first real job in San Sebastian. And I quickly realized that tourism in San Sebastian was a very good thing because it was more sustainable. And this will go right back into the conversation, the big topic, sustainability. I grew up in Florida. Everyone knows Florida. You have Miami in the south, you have Orlando in the middle, you have Disney World, and you have NASA, and you have cruise ships, and you have things that I really don't like. And it's a type of tourism that I think is destructive. You have thousands upon thousands of people visiting the beaches in Florida, spending very little money. They're looking for cheap things. It's what I call beach towel tourism. There's all of these stores in Florida. They sell towels for the beach. Three towels for $5.
Beach towel tourist with margarita cocktail.
With a margarita. There's nothing wrong with that. But so as a child and as a young man, I did not really enjoy tourism. It was a dirty word because I saw how destructive tourism was to much of the landscape in Florida. Yes, it helps the economy. Yes, absolutely. But it can also distract and make things a little bit less than nice or less authentic. And when I came to San Sebastian, I realized that here the tourism was more high-end. You had more people with money, more people with culture, and more people with an interest in learning about the culture, learning about the differences here, and wanting to participate in it. And above all else, people were interested in the culinary side, the food and the wine. And I thought, aha, this is a great opportunity. This does not have to be cheap tourism. It doesn't have to be trashy. It can be elegant. It can be intelligent. It can be historical and cultural. And if everyone is coming for food and drink, well, it's perfect for me. I was a chef, and I am a showman. I like to talk. I like to entertain. And so I decided to become a tour guide and start leading culinary tours of my own. And it was the best decision I've ever made.
Okay, I see. So there are a few interesting insights. First, that I just realized that your tourists are coming to Basque Country not because of the sea. Yes, we have already mentioned it. Yes,
a little bit. Yeah, a little.
They came for cultural experiences. This is the same, for instance, what Uzbekistan offers. Yes, and Uzbekistan proclaims itself as a gastronomic destination, but it's still not like this. Not because Uzbekistan doesn't have good food, but at my side, it's because Uzbekistan is like still has a room to learn how to offer it, how to sell it. Yes, even how to save it, because now there is a big, they call it Turkeyization. Yes, so Turkey food, Turkey cafes are moving local cafes. You know, like so. All these challenges, but we are here not about like Horeca, but about guiding. So I think guides are those ambassadors of culture, yes, who are responsible for saving some like recipes or cultural things around the food through the tourism. Because as you mentioned, and like second insight is you say your tourists are high-end tourists. Every destination dreams about tourists like this, yes.
Sure.
But very few know how to attract them. So, what is the secret of attracting high-end tourists? Because I find it very important point for sustainability. Because when you have high-end tourists, you can afford to deal with other tourists as well, even with budget. Yes, because for ecosystem we need all. Yes, we need budget, we need backpackers, we need like bikers, we need those who sleep like paying $5, and those who overnight paying $500. Yes, all of them is ecosystem of tourism. But tell us about your high-end, working with high-ends. What specifically, besides Michelin restaurants? Okay, we don't have, but I don't think this is just the end of the dream to invite them. Yes, what else should be done?
Oof, that's a tricky one. I mean, I'm very fortunate in that the region had the infrastructure for the high-end tourists with the Michelin star restaurants and some very nice hotels. I do think that in this region, since we had the high-end tourism, it generated a lot of publicity. It generated influencers and bloggers and media attention, and it began to trickle down. There are youth hostels here for backpackers, and there's always been a culture of backpacking here as well. So it doesn't have to be high-end all the way. And personally, I can say that frequently the wealthiest clients that I deal with are the most annoying. They're sometimes not enjoyable people to be with. Sometimes just regular, normal people like you and I are the most joyous, fun-loving, and excited and enthusiastic for their holiday. So high-end doesn't always mean that it's better. It is monetarily better, economically better, but sometimes you have to pay for that. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I just realized that there was a market for high-end tourism here that I should target because no one else was doing it with regards to guided tours. When I first started the business several years ago, I was an affordable tour guide. I was new to the market. I wanted to get in and make a name for myself, and my tours were priced very fairly. But then other tour operators started to operate more and more. Devour came into the market. They're owned by the company Walks. Most recently, Secret Food Tours has come into the market. These are two multinationals. I call them the Starbucks of food tours. And they have come into the market. They offer very affordable tours. The prices are cheap. And I cannot compete. So as this sort of competition came into the market, I decided to focus on a niche market of the high-end people. And I think that word niche is very important. We mentioned that earlier. Being different, I am very different. I mean, I'm in this fancy coat and I have the big mustache. I am an American operating a tour in the Basque Country. That is a niche. I am a niche in a niche market, and I am looking for niche clients. Whether they are high-end and wealthy doesn't really matter to me. As long as they are passionate about food, wine, history, culture, as long as they are excited about spending time with me as their guide, well, perfect. And there were times early on when I thought, who would want to take a tour with me? I'm loud, I'm crazy. I'm an American. I'm an expatriate living in the Basque Country. Why would anyone want to take a tour with me? And then I realized it's because I am different. I am a niche in a niche market. And that has been a very, very successful philosophy for me. And we can talk about that some more. I'm happy to, because it goes right back into cultural sustainability, which is a huge theme for me. But I'm going to pause for a minute and see if you have any comments or questions.
No. We go exactly now to cultural sustainability, but I just want to mention for our audience, for those especially guides who are like watching us now, that Gregory is coming to Samarkand in February. And at that time, Gregory, our program is still under development, but now we are getting like insights for this program, and I think you can cover within your touching our audience within your master classes or presentations. You can, of course, like talk about your guiding. We will leave you alone with guides. Yes, do whatever you find good with them, but like about guiding. Guiding for gastronomy, for culinary, for wine, etc. But also you have highlighted publicity as an important point of Basque Country, yes, of San Sebastian, which was a factor of success. And I think I will propose you to set a session on like on PR or on media guiding and media, because you are very good in this. Yes, I see. And your new website, which you just recently presented to me, it's exciting. And this is very simple. It's just a landing, yes. And every guide who want to be niche, and especially who want to be niche in niche, like you say, yes, absolutely, has to have website at least. Yeah, so okay, maybe it's an Instagram account, but website is a landing is a good place where I can make my decision and buy. Yes, and if as a guide I want to be sold for bigger rate, yes, I think I need the kind of landing you have. So we will ask you to share your experience in publicity as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
But later in Samarkand, in 9-10 February. But now come to the point of sustainability and just prove what are you doing to. Okay, I don't call you sustainable guide, yeah, or something like this. But I invited you here. If you are in Florida now, we would not invite you to this podcast. But you came from very unique place, from niche place, and everything says that you are around sustainability. But very simply, explain us, what do you do to support sustainability? Yes.
Yeah, and when you invited me to join you on the podcast, I said, well, I'm not really a sustainable tour guide. My business isn't really sustainable.
And who is?
Exactly. Everyone can do better. And I'm thinking from, zero emissions, being completely green and ecologically friendly. Now, to my credit, I offer walking tours. So we're not loading people up in vans or automobiles. I meet the clients in the middle of the city and we walk. So that's good, right? But I just think about this all the time. What else can I do to make the tour better? And one thing is that, we go out, we go to restaurants and we go to bars and we eat a lot of different food. We have 2 or 3 small plates and a drink or 2 at each bar. We use a lot of napkins. I've met other tour guides who have made like a cotton napkin with their logo on it, and they give it to the client at the beginning of the tour. And I thought, well, this is a great idea, but it doesn't really work for me because I would have so many filthy napkins. I would have to wash them, or it just wouldn't really work. So for me, it's a challenge to think about sustainability and moving forward. When I start doing more multi-day tourism, 3-day or 5-day trips for wine tasting out in the Rioja wine country, well, we will have to use automobiles. There really isn't a fleet of electric vans here that I can take advantage of. So there are a lot of challenges. These are things that I have to consider, think about, but I think everyone does. Everyone is faced with issues regarding climate crisis and sustainability, and we could all do better. But then, Misha, you mentioned to me, but you are culturally sustainable. And I said, absolutely, I am. And this is something that I'm very proud of, and I was really happy that you mentioned it, and that's what we could talk about. with regards to myself, with Basque Bites, and with sustainable tourism from a social or cultural point of view.
Oh,
very important. And this goes right back to my childhood in Florida, and I saw non-sustainable tourism. Huge autobuses full of hundreds of tourists coming to small towns and sort of making a mess of things, leaving things dirty, taking away the essence of what made Florida great and turning it into a trashy tourist hellhole. No, Florida's still great. Everyone should go to Florida at some point. But to a large degree, there are some very, very undesirable parts because of the tourism. And I think you can see a lot of that in parts of Spain. Some of the beaches in the south or some of the islands, they overdeveloped. They built huge brick buildings right on the beach. And it looks terrible. It has destroyed the coastline. And they've taken the essence of what made a small beach town or a small island, a fishing village. They've destroyed that and turned it into a place that is catering to mass tourism. San Sebastian was always different. San Sebastian was hard to access. The Basque Country is an unusual area with the culture and the language. And it's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's precious. And as an American, as an expatriate living here, I want to make sure that I'm not doing anything to distract or take away from the essence of this beautiful area. I want to make it better. And it's a challenge for me because, again, I'm not from here and I'm not necessarily welcome. Not all of the locals love me because they see a loudmouthed American who's making money off of foreign visitors by leading tours. And a lot of people think, well, why didn't they take a tour with a Basque person? Why didn't they take a tour with the local person? The real reason is because it was foreigners who started offering tours. The Basques, there weren't many Basque tour guides in the beginning. There was an American woman, Gabriella. There was a British man. And then slowly some local Basque tour guides started to take it seriously. And I got in there as well early on. And I have made a very strong effort to participate in the culture by taking Basque lessons, by taking different classes like folkloric dance classes, by participating in the local culture and society, and also making sure that my work is not taking away from the city or from the culture. Hopefully I'm making it better by educating people, by being a cultural ambassador. And one of the easiest ways that I do that is by limiting my group size. I do not work with large groups of people. It's very rare for me to offer a tour that has more than 6 people in it. Now, yes, I have clients, it's a group of 30 people, but what I will do then is hire other tour guides and make 5 groups of 6. If you have a large group of people, it is noticeable. It's interfering with the local people. You're taking away from their ability to go to small shops or go to their favorite bar. We have to remember that the cities that we live in, the places that we're operating tours in are people's homes. This is a real city. It's a real neighborhood. These are real local businesses. They're not here specifically only for tourists. And they need to have room and space to breathe, to thrive, to live. If people come to a destination, whether it's Uzbekistan or San Sebastian or Buenos Aires in Argentina, they're going there because they want something unique. They want something authentic and cultural. They don't want to see the same stuff that you see everywhere else, a Starbucks and a Louis Vuitton shop and all of this crap. This
is the nature of tourism. People go to see what they don't have in their place. Yes, otherwise no need to go somewhere, right?
Exactly. And so I've always been very, very cautious about growing too much or being too loud or distracting, you know. And I was talking about this whole issue and what is sustainability. And somebody gave me a great definition, and they said it's basically taking a look at what makes something great, using its resources, but making sure that those resources are still there, still intact for the future. So your tourism is a great example of this. You're going to come to San Sebastian. We're going to have a great time. You're going to learn about the history and the culture. You're going to eat and drink like a local. You're going to participate in normal daily activities, but you're not going to damage it. You're not going to take it away. You're going to leave it. You're going to make it better, hopefully.
Exactly, Greg. Now I see what is your impact into sustainability. Yes, I mean your style, your size of your groups, your approach with very, very local, very small. So groups cannot be called sustainable by default. Now there are many discussions, like some cruise companies, they proclaim themselves we are sustainable, but green guys are like biting them. You're totally not. But coming back to small groups, yeah, okay, any big group is in the hands of corporates, yes, because they need big hotel, they need big restaurant, sure. Yeah. But what you are doing, what I just realized, okay, guides are not happy because they always are not happy when some new type of competition is arising. Yes, you arrived to their place, they were sleeping or half sleeping over there. Yes, doing their job in their zone of comfort. You arrived, you brought new techniques, you brought new like approaches, new, I don't know, type of entertainment which you provide to your tourists. Of course, they're not happy. Some of them maybe still, yeah. But how many? But tourism or sustainability, it's not about like just question: are guides happy or not? Local providers first, yes. Your small bars and restaurants, yes. Those who produce like fish or bread or vegetables for those restaurants, yeah, and yeah. You are supplying these suppliers, small hotels, small restaurants and bars, with high paying audience, so they earn more.
Yes, and you would think that everyone would love me and that all the bars and the hotels would say, yeah, thank you so much, but not always. And it has to do with volume, you know. And you mentioned cruise ships. A great example of this is Venice, Italy. And it has had way too much tourism. It is now destructive. It's not helping. It's helping the local economy, but it's destroying the essence of what made Venice great. Barcelona is another great example. It just has too many tourists, and it's become very hard for local people to enjoy a normal quality of life. And here in my town, we're very famous for the bars, for the taverns, and this is my best-selling tour, a walking food tour to visit the Pincho bars. And we'll go to 5 or 6 bars. We'll be at each bar for 20 to 30 minutes. We'll have 2 or 3 plates and a couple of glasses of wine, and we're on to the next bar. It's very, very fun, and it's very much a local pastime. However, these bars are very small, and it's logistically very difficult to bring a group of people larger than 6 or 7 people into the bar. Now, I see other tour guides doing it. They'll bring 12 people in, and they completely overwhelm the bar. And local people cannot get in. The grandparents who live down the street from the bar, who just want to go in for a coffee, they see that the place is full of tourists. They're being a little bit obnoxious, taking too many selfies and talking too loudly in another language, and it upsets the local grandparents, and they're angry. They don't have their coffee. They complain. I had one bar that I do a lot of business with, and the owner asked me, he said, listen, I love you. You always bring us a lot of clients. It's great. But do you think you could change your hours a little bit? We open at 7 p.m. at night. Don't come at 7. come after 8 or 8:30. We're too busy when we open. I said, oh, absolutely. You know, thank you for telling me, as we have to work together. I need to make sure that they are happy, my local providers who I'm working with. And that's another question of sustainability. Are the crowds too big? Is there too much volume? Is it quantity over quality? And that goes right back to my whole philosophy on niche marketing and going for high-end clients. I would rather have higher quality tours, higher quality clients than large volume quantity.
And you take attention of your visitors from the sea, yes, to the small town, yes, and to this small provider. So this is also, so you generate. I think you also take part in generating inflow into San Sebastian. You not just sitting and waiting for those who already come to call you or to like find you somehow. Yeah, you generate.
This is the hardest part of the job, of course, is how do you market, how do you make sales, and how can you plan for the future in advance. So I'm still learning this, but yeah.
Yeah, I think this is like lifelong learning.
Yeah.
Especially in a new experience economy. Yes, it's
yes.
all we are challenging from here till the end of our activity. We will challenge lifelong learning of how to fit in experience economy. Yes, but you, my friend, you already do it, and this is a great example. And we have found interesting insights. Yes, and I do hope guides will catch it. Yes, because look, okay, maybe bars is not so big topic for our region. Yes, but we have different type of we call it chayhana in Uzbekistan. This is like tea house. Yeah.
Yeah.
And historically, you know, these small tea houses, they did the same what small bars in San Sebastian. They play the same role for locals, first of all, yeah. But these small historical, cultural, like heritage places, they can accommodate tourists, yeah, and only guides like you. I mean, not you, but those like you operating here, locals, foreigners. I don't care about it, yes, but somehow has to fill this niche, yeah, can do the same for small groups of tourists, to bring them to local chayhanas, to interpret correctly rules, what people are expecting from you. So this all we can call sustainability, yes, because sustainable when you come, when you bring money to economy, to local economy, but no damage or lesser damage, yes, minimum damage.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we could look at Samarkand, and we could say you have the tea houses, you have a very famous market, you were part of the Silk Road, you have this history, this culture. So your tour guides should be celebrating all of that and encouraging their clients to explore it and to celebrate it and enjoy that. And do it in a way that is not damaging. It would be so sad to go to a tea house and make it too popular and then have the owners turn around and open a Starbucks or something, because that is the complete opposite of what anyone wants. But perhaps, you know, the consumerist in the owner is thinking, this is great. You know, Starbucks is so popular. I'll never forget, many years ago, I went to Morocco. I went to Casablanca to live with a family. I was there for a week doing a homestay. And the young man in the family, he was about 25 years old and younger than I am. And he said, I want to take you to a very special place. And I said, okay, great. So we went for a walk, and he took me to a Catholic church. And I said, why did you bring me here? And he's like, I thought you would like it. Because I assume you're Catholic. You're from the United States. And I was like, okay, I would, okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very unusual, but no, I would much rather see a mosque. I would much rather visit something Islamic, an Islamic holy site versus a Catholic site.
Or synagogue.
Absolutely, but I'm thinking of Morocco, and well, it's an Islamic country. Another time, I was visiting Istanbul, and my host immediately took me to this American beer hall, and they had hamburgers and hot wings, and they had beer on tap. And I said, "Wow, I was really not expecting this." And she said, "I thought you would love this."
I think all guides are balancing between those clients who are coming to a country like Uzbekistan or Morocco or San Sebastian and asking, where is the closest McDonald's? There are such.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there are such customers, and they trying to satisfy your need in something familiar for you. I think is based on those experience, but trends are changing. Yes, flows of tourists are changing. Globally, people are changing. Yes, especially after pandemic, all these trends about something like local, natural. Everything is like more everything local is getting more and more popular, and every guide, I think, has to have inner political will to move, yes, from these stereotypes. Oh, American, he is dreaming about McDonald's, yeah,
right, yeah.
Or go to Catholic church.
Yeah, why would I go to Istanbul to go to a McDonald's? It's ridiculous. But that's, okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with making an assumption. But in tourism, we shouldn't. We should assume our clients are coming to get closer to what we have to offer, to the local culture, the things that make the local area great. And we need to use those resources, but not damage them, right? And hopefully we can find a way to make it better. It's a tiny thing that I'm doing here locally, but studying the language has opened so many doors for me, socially, economically, romantically. Studying the local language, Euskera, is very, very difficult, but it means so much to local people. They're shocked that an American would move here and participate with the local language and thus with the local culture. So something small like that is a very easy way for me to give back. But I'm also looking for other ways, other activities that I could do, like more cultural participation. What could I do to help the city specifically? Beach cleanup type activities is something that I've done in the past, because we have 3 beaches here. So going to the beach and picking up garbage, picking up trash, that's something you could do. Volunteer work with different charities, which I'm embarrassed to admit I have not done, but I should do. So there we go. Goal for 2024. I'll do some volunteer work. There, now I'm in trouble. But there's things that you could do to give back, to enhance your town, your region, and your country, and make tourism more sustainable, make it a good thing, a positive thing. It's good economically, it is good socially, and it can be good culturally. We mentioned the word ambassador earlier, cultural ambassador, and that's something that I say all the time. I feel like in my job, I really am a cultural ambassador. And this goes back to that question, why are most of my clients Americans? I think that they feel comfortable being with an American guide, and that they also know by reading the reviews that I am very serious about the job, I am very serious about the local culture, and that above all else, I want to share that educate my clients about it through food and drink, through storytelling, through history and culture. I just really want to enlighten them on what the Basque Country is, who the Basque people are, what is unique about this region, why I live here, why I love it, and how we can enjoy it without damaging it. It's very important. So that's everything.
Now I can frankly say it's like proved you are really sustainable guy. Yeah, your devotion to local culture, and you personally pay for this. So you study a new language. Yes, you studied new language. It's always challenge, I think, with exactly such a language which is not like one of the groups you are familiar with.
And this language is hard. They say this is the 5th most difficult language in the world to learn. So
we can call it like
Chinese.
Greek, yes. It's Greek for you, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. It's Greek for me.
Yeah.
That's a great joke. It's an international joke, eh?
Yeah. In Russian we say Chinese, yes, but in English it's Greek, yeah. But there is like a joke that Chinese is Greek for me.
Yeah.
Like it's mix Russian and English. But for you, it's your Basque. Unfortunately, I didn't remember the name of the language. Can you repeat?
Euskera.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're even saying the name. Yeah, and then the name of the Basque country in the Basque language is Euskal Herria, the Basque village, the Basque pueblo.
Euskal means Basque. Yeah, it sounds similar.
Right.
Euskal,
and Euskaldun is a Basque speaker and thus a Basque person. So there's a beautiful thing in Basque culture. If you can learn the language, you will be an Euskaldun. And Euskaldun is synonymous with Basque person or citizen. So in about 25 years, when I master the language, I will finally be a real Basque. But
wow. I do hope I will join in your excursion earlier. I wanna still see how American is providing tours in Basque country. Yes, but not Basque.
You know, again, I'll mention the fact that I'm a foreigner and that there were predominantly foreigners operating tours here before locals were doing it. I always thought that was rather unusual, and I couldn't understand why. I think from one point of view, there was foreigners came here and saw a business opportunity. Like, oh, people here need a tour guide. Why aren't there local guides doing it? I think local people thought, well, you know, we know everything here. It's not that hard to figure out. They didn't have the emotional empathy. They couldn't see it from the visitor's point of view, how difficult things were for them. They didn't know what language to speak. Do you speak Spanish, or do you speak French, or do you speak Basque, or do you speak English? They didn't know how the bars worked. How do you order? What's going on here? And local expatriates, people who had moved here, saw the need for that and exploited it. They found a good opportunity to create a business. But it's also one of the reasons why I want to participate in the culture more and do more good here, is because, yeah, I am a foreigner and I don't want for people to look at me and think, he's just come here to steal our culture and make money here and exploit the area. No. So I always make a large effort to participate and be social, speak the language when I can. And this summer, again, with the record numbers of visitors that we had and business that we did, it was the first time that I personally noticed some aggression. There were some very angry grandparents. It was mostly the elderly. On more than one occasion, I had both grandfathers and grandmothers elbow me while I was operating the tour. I had somebody push me in a bar. We do a market tour as well, and I've had many people like say, get away from me, I'm trying to buy my fish. And it's I completely understand, and I'm very respectful of them, and I always want to give them their space. I immediately apologize, and I do my best to pacify the situation. But I find it very interesting that people are becoming a little bit protective, a little bit upset with the tourism that we have here. And there are a lot of tourists coming here, and there are a lot of guides. In the summer, there are close to 40 different tour guides operating the same type of tour that I'm operating, a walking food tour. So a great deal of competition, very high volume, and people are becoming very well, upset. And so I'm very sensitive about that. And I want to make sure that I'm not being blamed, that people realize I'm doing something good. I'm trying my best to be sustainable.
Yeah, and we can read this mark, yes, like sign of unsatisfaction of locals, like a mark, yes, like a factor that we have to go even more sustainable, yes, because if locals are not happy, everything we do is not sustainable at all, yes. Even if we feel we bring a lot of money to local economies, is that, but not happy, not satisfied locals, this is a sign that something wrong, yes. Maybe this rapid growth of tourism flow last year or two, yes, and this is a natural resistance of locals, yes.
Absolutely. Hey, hang tight. I'm going to run across the room and I'm going to grab a poster. It'll just take me one quick second.
Okay. We are about to wrap up. Yeah.
So, because this summer, some locals got together and created a very large protest, an anti-tourism protest. And I went and attended it, and I wanted to hear what people were saying. And they said that the city has built too many hotels. The local government has offered too many tax breaks for hotel development, that we have too many tour guides, that it's not a regulated industry. And just like we were talking about, that it's beginning to distract and take away from the uniqueness of the region. And I think that the poster is very interesting. So I'm going to grab it. I'll show it to you.
Bring. And we will wrap up with your poster on the background. Друзья, пока наш спикер пошел за баннером, который он хочет нам показать, хочу использовать эту возможность всех поздравить с наступающим Новым годом. Gregory, I will say few words in Russian for our audience. I didn't expect you come back so quickly.
Super quick. Go ahead.
Мы скоро завершаем, поэтому всех, кто смотрит нас, с наступающим Новым годом, пожалуйста, будьте с нами. Мы вместе будем делать все то, что нужно делать в туризме, чтобы в туризме в нашем регионе, в Центральной Азии, чтобы наш туризм также рос, процветал, становился все более устойчивый, приносил все больше радости и воспоминаний гостям нашего региона Центральной Азии, и в то же время, чтобы мы сами, люди, которые живем на этой земле, да, также чувствовали удовлетворение от того, что и мы делаем, и то, что мы делаем, это не разрушает, а созидает, да, то есть туризм, он при правильном подходе именно таков, и желаю всем нам больше устойчивости в наступающем году. Сейчас я перехожу на английский, мы скоро закончим с нашим спикером. Yes, Greg, show us what you are going to show.
These were all over the city, and it's in the Basque language, but you can see it basically says touristification, all right? And they're saying we have to be careful about touristification. And I love this image of the vulture on top of the suitcase. And I went to the protest. There were hundreds of people there, and they were very angry. They were making a lot of noise. And it's interesting. So the locals are sensitive. They see that we're at a dangerous point where perhaps we're having too much tourism and it needs to be regulated, that it needs to be controlled. Going straight back into the theme of sustainability. You know, people think it's funny that I grabbed the poster and that I attended the rally, the manifestation, but I said, well, it's important. And I do agree. I would hate to see cruise ships coming into the beach here and thousands of visitors taking over the city every day. And it's, who knows, it is a possibility in 5 or 10 years. I hope not. I hope that the local government says, okay, we have, things are good here. Let's keep the numbers where they are. Let's
balance. Yeah.
Balance. Equilibrium.
Yeah, balance is a key word in sustainability. And Gregory, if you don't share with us within our discussion all these small things which helped us to realize that you and those who do the same job, yes, supporting culture, are doing really sustainable job, I would say when you show us your manifestation, yeah, your banner, I would say it's hypocrisy. Yes, is it right word? Hypocrisy.
Sure. Yeah.
But in your case, it is not. You are sincerely doing good job, which is about sustainability. Now I think all who are here and listen and will watch us, they will agree with it. So it's time to wrap up. I don't want to uncover all because we will meet personally and we will continue offline very soon. I just want to say goodbye and big thanks to you, Gregory. Say hello to all tourism industry of your beautiful San Sebastian town. We are now much more aware about what is happening there, and it's just already must in my list of visits. Not today, since I met you first time. Yes, almost 4 years back, and I wanted to wish to our destinations prosperity and sustainability in a forthcoming 2024 year. I just wanna to wrap up the series of sustainability podcasts, which was a series of 5 podcasts dedicated to sustainability. I would like to thank our contributors. It is a Green Tour project and Helvetas from Kyrgyzstan, as well as Switch Asia project. I would like to thank the team of technical team of Samarkand Tourism Forum and all people who contributed to this series of podcasts. We are very close to the new year, so it's time to finish here and start preparation. Gregory, see you very soon in Samarkand.
I can't wait. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see you again in person and make a lot of new friends in Central Asia. So I'll see you guys in February in Samarkand.
Yeah, we finish. Bye.
Take care. Thanks again. Agur, agur.
Oh.